Welcome to part 2 of our series on how to set up in-ear monitoring. In this episode we're going to discuss a basic in-ear monitoring setup, specifically for a band who are on a budget, or only require a quick, simple and portable setup. We will also discuss some affordable optional extras, which give each band member more control while monitoring on stage. Basic setup. What will I need? For this 4 band member setup, you will need a 4-channel stereo output headphone amp with individual volume controls for each channel and 2 balanced mono channel line inputs. The input stage will need a left and right pan knob for mixing between vocals and instruments in 2-channel mode. We recommend the Samson CQ8 headphone amp, as it also comes with an EQ-shaped switch, giving an optional boost for low and top end for each of the 4 headphone outputs. Each of the 4 headphone channels also has an additional output on the back of the unit, giving 8 outputs in total. 2 female XLR to mono 6.35mm male jack cables, at least 10 feet. 4 stereo headphone extension cables, 6.35mm male jack to 6.35mm female jack input. 4 6.35mm male to 3.5mm female adapters. Finally, you will need a pair of in-ear monitoring earphones, 1 per musician. We recommend AudioFly Performance Series in-ear monitors, made by musicians for musicians. Other than instruments, amps, and instrument cables, traditionally supplied by the band, other on-stage items such as the stage box, microphones, DI boxes, and their connecting cables are typically provided by venues as standard. How to set it up. The whole band should be set up in a standard gig format, with all the microphones and instrument DIs going into the stage box. This sends the signal to the front of house mixing desk. The sound engineer will then send 2 mixes back to the stage box from the front of house mixing desk. One of these will be a general instrument or band mix. The other will be the vocal mix. Connect these sends from the stage box using the 2 female XLR to mono 6.35mm balanced cables. The instrument's mix cable goes into the left balanced line input in the rear of the headphone amp, and the vocals on the right input. Now connect 4 stereo headphone extension cables into the headphone output channels, 1 for each channel. The last piece of the setup is adding your in-ear monitors to the headphone extension cable. Most in-ear monitors use a 3.5mm jack, so you will need to use the stereo 6.35mm male to 3.5mm female adapter here. Also, be careful that once your in-ear monitors are ready, that all volume knobs are at 0 before switching the headphone amp on. How to mix it. Set the master volume and balance knobs to around 12 o'clock and adjust each of the 4 headphone output volume knobs and EQ shape according to each band member's preference during the sound checking process. Once volume levels are set, all that's left to do is choose a rough balance between the instruments and vocal mixes so that the lead vocalist and the rest of the band are comfortable with the final monitoring mix. For more instruments, turn the balance knob left, and for more vocals, turn the knob to the right. Guitarists can wrap the headphone extension cable around their guitar instrument cable. Another idea is to loop the extension cable through a belt loop. Although this limits the maximum distance the wearer can travel from the headphone amp, inside this distance, which could be 10 meters, you retain your perfect mix. The Basic Plus setup with More Me function. As an optional extra for those who want the ability to control their own instrument or vocal level, it's very simple and relatively inexpensive to add this functionality. What follows is the easiest way for each band member to have their own personal mix. What will I need? For this 4 band member setup, you will need exactly the same equipment as in the basic setup, but with the addition of a personal monitoring box, a standard XLR male to XLR female cable, and a standard stereo 6.35mm jack-to-jack cable per band member. We recommend the Samson S Monitor personal monitoring box, as it gives you a More Me volume knob, as well as volume for the rest of the instruments and vocals. How to set it up. The system is fairly similar to the basic setup. Take the 2 stage sends and connect them into the balanced left and right line inputs on the back of the CQ8 headphone amp. Then, connect the 4 stereo 6.35mm jack-to-jack cables, one into each headphone output, and plug the opposite ends into the 4 separate Samson S Monitor boxes, placing these by each band member's instrument amp or microphone. Lastly, instead of the standard XLR going directly from the microphone or instrument amp to the stage box, use the Samson S Monitor boxes to intercept the instrument signal. Do this by plugging the standard XLR coming from your instrument or mic into the mic input on the personal monitoring box, and then your XLR male to XLR female cable from the mic through output on the personal monitoring box to the correct input on the stage box, which will be allocated by your sound engineer. How to mix it. This time round, rather than blending the 2 channels of instruments and vocals, like in the basic setup, simply have a general band mix of everything, including vocals, sent to both channels on the headphone amp, and set every knob to 12 o'clock. This gives a general volume sent to the Samson S Monitor boxes, where each member can control the level of the general band mix using the stereo input knob. You can now adjust the level of your own instrument or vocal accordingly using the mic input knob, giving a perfect blend of your own volume with the rest of the band. This is your More Me control. That was our guide on how to build a basic in-ear monitor setup that's small, simple, and affordable for any musician. In the following videos from our series on using in-ear monitors, we will be looking at how to build your own professional wired setup, and finally how to build your own professional wireless setup. Find more information on AudioFly in-ear monitors and monitoring setups in the description below.